Yo, what's good, my London Reacts family? Are back with another reaction video. Today we got something I just stumbled upon. To be honest, I drove into Oakland's most dangerous hoods. It was nuts. So let's see. Let's put it to the test, man. You know I like checking out these hood vlogs and documentaries. So we're gonna tap in. Of course, before we get started, make sure you guys are subscribed, man. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get to 10K. Unless you guys know someone else doing it like me from the UK, then there's a reason not to. But I don't. So hit that subscribe button, man. Let's keep shit growing. Wait, let me read this first. I hope this community understands how much trauma that it's bringing to our community. How much sadness, how much pain it's bringing to our community. Oakland Police Chief LeRon Armstrong said. I didn't actually understand. Obviously, I've heard it a lot now, but I didn't realize Oakland was in the Bay. And obviously, it's the most dangerous hood in the Bay. So yeah, man, let's get into this. I'm infatuated.
Oakland, California. It's been dangerous here since the 1960s when crime began to increase. By the end of the 70s, Oakland's murder rate was twice of nearby San Francisco and even New York City. Crime here peaked in the early 90s when gangs made parts of this city a war zone. Today, it appears those numbers are getting close to where they were at their peak in 1993, people.
Oh, damn.
This is International Drive, which bisects East Oakland. According to crime stats, 2/3 of all violent crime in Oakland happens here in East Oakland, despite the fact this part of town only has about 1/3 of this city's population.
Yeah,
this is
crazy.
Also by far the poorest part of Oakland, too.
Sounds about right.
Now we're going to head into two really bad and dangerous neighborhoods in East Oakland where crime is the worst. Both are on the western side of...
Just trying to see my bearings. It's right on the water. Trader Joe's, Mills College, Redwood Heights, Fruitvale. I've heard of Fruitvale. I haven't really heard of anywhere else, to be honest. Alameda, maybe. I think I've heard of Alameda.
International Boulevard. The first one's here, in an area that's called the Coliseum neighborhood. Now, if you know anything about Oakland, you know anything near the Coliseum is bad news. Here's the map of the route I would take. The day was fairly nice. The skies were partly cloudy and it was about 65 degrees. It was late in the day on a Thursday in late October 2021. Let's enter the hood.
Let's do it. Let's see what it's saying.
So you're telling me
I'm not
I
gonna
can
lie, you
straighten
bust
my
that
teeth
right and
in
it
as
was
little as
looking
4 to 6
it was
months
looking
from
rough.
just £38?
It was looking rough. These bungalows common around here?
Now the first thing you're going to notice is all the bars on the windows and the bars on the street line and the fences and the barbed wire. It was hard to find a house in this entire neighborhood that wasn't walled or fenced in or where there weren't any areas to escape. This whole neighborhood is one long maze of fences and speed bumps to deter drive-by shootings. There weren't a lot of accessible yards or alleyways to escape into either. If you're in trouble and you're deep in this hood, you're blocks and blocks away from safety. And even the fringes of this hood are really unsafe, so there's no way to be even somewhat safe until you go 5 miles north into downtown. The neighborhood we're in right now is well known for shootings and gang activity, for robberies and break-ins and assaults. It's pretty rare that when a call comes in, the police can get here quickly, especially with the shortage in police staffing. When I was here, Oakland was down 50 officers for a variety of reasons: officer burnout, early retirements, vaccination requirements, and of course a defunding the police plan where money was taken away from officers on the streets and reappropriated into alternative policing efforts. Stuff like violent disruptor programs, community ambassadors and counselors who were supposed to go into bad areas like this and try to talk sense into criminals before they commit crimes. Well, that doesn't ever really work. The goal of the new plan is to address poverty, which the city says is the root cause of all the crime and violence here. No
shit.
Poverty's not the root cause.
I mean, poverty is somewhat the root cause, Like I say in my other videos, everybody gets 50 bags right now, or if everybody got a mil to leave the hood right now, they're leaving. Easily. I don't know many people that are going to stay. What I was going to say though, he's been driving around a bit. Some of these people got nice whips. It's been very average, a lot of the whips, but some of them whips are quite nice.
Cause of crime and violence in Oakland, it's dumb people.
Okay,
One Oakland City
now.
Council member said this: until we invest in the...
What's going on?
Communities that have been disenfranchised from day one, the marginalized groups, the black folks, the brown folks, the Asian folks, poor people. Until we invest in them, then the trauma that these communities have experienced will be replicated.
I thought he was saying, I was about to say, how is he just saying it like that?
Before the new budget was finalized, 20% of Oakland's entire budget had to be used up on policing. That number is now 18%, so that's 18 million less to police Oakland streets. The city's hope is that by taking away money from the cops and giving it to non-police people, crime will go down and then they can further lower the police budget. They call it reimagining safety in Oakland. Well, apparently Oakland claims this plan had been working for the last 10 years since crime had been going down. They were doing community involvement, they were trying to talk sense to people with guns, they were even counseling gang members while they'd laid in hospital beds. But eventually the criminals here realized the lack of police on the streets just meant they could act a fool even more, which they have, and crime is up almost higher than it's ever been. Today in Oakland, in places like where I am now, there's just going to be less officers on the streets to respond to emergency calls, and that's terrible. Since Oakland's crime's the highest it's been in decades, it also means Oakland won't be able to investigate shootings effectively. The mayor of Oakland was against taking cops off the streets, especially in terrible neighborhoods like this. She admitted the new budget would destroy Oakland's existing public safety system and would force officers to work overtime. Oakland lacks proven alternatives to police, the mayor said. We cannot destroy Oakland's current public safety system at a time when we're losing so many to gun violence. Well, today, Oakland ranks second in the state of California for robberies, and it's third for violent crimes per capita. There's a murder in Oakland every 3 days that they know of.
Where's first?
Overall, 1 in 12 people in Oakland is either robbed, had something vandalized, shot at, shot, beaten up, or murdered. That's just terrible.
1 in 12.
The headlines in
crazy.
Oakland are the same every day. Spike in violent crime, a bunch of killings, soaring new crime stats, gang violence, human trafficking, robberies, carjackings, rapes. Shootings are up 50%. Armed robberies are up 50%. Carjackings are up 100%. It's so bad here now, they just tell people, hand over the keys so you don't get killed. Here in Oakland, criminals get out on zero bail, and the courts are backed up. The city has less than 700 cops now, and that's the lowest number of cops in decades. When they actually do get people behind bars, they don't stay long, they let them ride out. And the clearance rate for solving crimes in Oakland is about 25%. That means only about 1 in 4 crimes is actually solved here, which is abysmal.
That's
When you
crazy.
compare it to California as a whole, where 6 in 10 crimes are solved.
I'm just trying to work something out quick. So 6 in 10, what's that? 6, 12, 18, 24 out of 40. And theirs is 1 out of, 10 out of 40. Okay, yeah, so it's quite a lot more. It sounds like a recipe for destruction, for disaster.
Now, the area we're in now has traditionally been a black neighborhood, but it's almost all Hispanic now. In 1980, nearly half of Oakland's population was black, and today, it's only 14%. A lot of the sensible black families moved over to West Oakland or left the Oakland area entirely for places like Antioch or Pittsburgh, about 30 miles away. It's a pattern some people call black flight. As the Hispanic families have moved into this part of Oakland, so have the dangerous Hispanic gangs. I wouldn't want to be here at night. Would you? Can you imagine what happens here at night? But during the day, even though this is the most dangerous part of Oakland, I didn't really feel that unsafe. I was aware of how vulnerable my position was, and probably shouldn't have ventured so deep into this hood. If the mob turned against me in here, there's no easy way out. There's a weird energy here too. Almost a calm before the chaos, or calm after the chaos, or...
He said it's mainly Hispanic though, but so far all the people that I've been seeing on the streets are black, which is interesting.
Both. Quite a few people here got all worked up when they saw me with the camera pointed at them, and at one point I got yelled at to put my camera away.
Okay, here we go. He's Spanish, or Hispanic rather.
But I explained that I was also there to record a happy birthday video for my niece, and one guy even offered to help.
How did that one go down well? A happy birthday bit.
She's 12.
Oh, hi, Willa. God bless you. This is West Oakland. Happy birthday to you. May God bless you and many more. OG Unc out of West Oakland, California. Yada.
Thanks, man.
It's all good.
All right.
That guy was really cool. I liked him a lot. Now we're going to a second neighborhood in East Oakland,
Sticking
which is
up a
also
piece.
very terrible with crime and poverty. This neighborhood's further along International, between the blocks of 87th and 98th Streets. This is what they call deep East Oakland. And when you're driving along this part of town, what makes it extra scary and intimidating is the sheer number of lawlessness here. I already talked about how you never see a cop this deep in the hood, but it's also the lack of traffic laws that are in Oakland today. People do whatever they want on the roads. They fly by you in the bus lane, they run lights, they run stop signs, they speed up and down side streets, they weave in and out, just whatever they want, and they don't get pulled over. It's actually a new strategy they're implementing in Oakland to try to cut back on the number of times cops have to interact with the public. So instead of pulling people over for traffic violations, they just let anything go.
That is so wild. That is crazy. They don't even want to, I mean, if they really wanted to solve that issue, they just need to copy what London do. You can't do nothing here without your car, without being on some sort of camera, getting some sort of fine, going to court, all of that faff. But here, they said, fuck it, you guys do your own thing. We leave you to do your thing, just leave us out of it.
You can basically do whatever you want, it seems like, in Oakland when you're driving around. It's actually pretty scary to drive in Oakland. It's like driving through a zoo. So we're going to turn into the second hood in deep East Oakland, into a neighborhood called Highland. To be honest, while this hood is a lot more dangerous than other hoods in East Oakland, they all pretty much just look the same. A lot of East Oakland looks just like this. Now, the video that I'm working on right now is the most dangerous part of Oakland. So I went over to East Oakland. I took International down to 75th to 102nd and drove around in there, which has been notoriously like pretty much the most dangerous part of Oakland. And so I wanted to just, get feedback from someone that's been there for a long time based on, what I saw in that particular area. I guess I'm just interested to hear from someone who lives there. How bad is the reputation of that part of Oakland?
Yeah, gosh, boy, where to begin? I mean, Oakland's always had a bit of a rough and tumble reputation. I mean, even long before I lived here, back in the 70s, it was kind of like the blue collar working class town. Back when the Raiders were originally here and they were just, raising hell all over town. Yeah, it's a weird mix of a city because you do have these areas like the area East Oakland where you're talking about in particular, where the Coliseum is. I don't know if you went down to the Coliseum area, but
that's exactly where I was. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to ask you about. Yeah,
the Coliseum was built back in the days of the multi-purpose, multi-use Coliseums in the 60s, and it's like and right next to it's the Oracle, well, what was called the Oracle Arena, where the Warriors used to play. They moved across the bay a couple of seasons ago. And so it was this big complex where it's right off the highway. It's near BART. So, getting in and out of it's pretty easy, but there's nothing there that makes you want to come hang out before or after, because it was always very industrial. It wasn't like there were, places, go have dinner before or after a game and whatnot. They've tried to clean up some of the areas near the BART stop nearby. And there's a big long walkway that goes from the BART stop to the Coliseum. And it's like walking, I mean, you just feel like you're walking in a prison yard because there's razor wire at the top of the walkway. You look down below and again, it's always been industrial, but now it's just like a wasteland.
That is so right though. Like it's obviously it's very residential around here, but the way they've got all the fences up and the way that the buildings look, it looks still like it's stuck in an industrial period.
Of homeless camps, abandoned, or cars, motorhomes that people are living in, and there's just nothing about it that makes you feel good or clean. I mean, you just feel like really, sketchy about parking over there, walking to a game. And it's really.
Funnily enough, though, if for example, if I take this corner. This reminds me of where I grew up here in southeast London in Catford. Like this is literally how my area was. Bare bungalows and alleyways, and obviously they ain't got alleyways here, but I had bare alleyways, bare bungalows, bare houses, just looking exactly like this. Not fenced up as much as this, just normal fencing or gates and stuff. But they knocked all of that down and just rebuilt flats and stuff. So, or apartments as you guys call them. So. Yeah, I see the similarities. I also don't I don't look at this and think I'm in California, which is mad.
Really sad because, that's now we've lost the Raiders. The Warriors have gone across the bay to San Francisco, and now the A's are possibly going to move to Las Vegas because they can't seem to get a new stadium built downtown, which they've been trying to do for years. That's a whole other ball of wax dealing with the politicians.
Do people from the west side of Oakland or from other, is there any reason to ever go down there? Do you ever go down there at all?
I only go down there if I'm going to a baseball game. Or if I have to go to the airport because, excuse me, there's a main road that you can take off the highway that goes right down past the Coliseum and straight to the airport. I personally have no reason to go down there. And to be honest, I wouldn't feel safe going down there, especially at night. It's just too nasty. I hate to talk about my city this way, but it's the truth. It's just, this is an area that there's very little that you would normally feel welcoming about that section down there.
There were people driving around, going 50 down International, weaving through the bus lanes, people flying through lights. It wasn't just the danger element of watching seedy people walk around and wonder, like, hopefully nobody tries to open my door. It's just driving around down in East Oakland. Like, you really don't feel like you can let your guard down just even at the light.
Quick question.
That's what it comes down to as well. People don't want to be...
What's the number one thing your customers
don't
wish
want to
they...
be stopping at lights.
Yeah, because if you might end up getting caught in the middle of a side, what they call a sideshow down here, and often those will take place at night, where groups of kids. I'm going to say kids because I think it's mostly people younger than us. They'll just take over a whole intersection and just start doing big donut burnouts, through the intersection. They'll do it on the highway too. They'll just like at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And you'll hear about it on the news, then you'll see the evidence of it the next day, just, giant burnouts, like right in the middle of the freeway. Like, God, it's scary, but, it's just, the safety factor. And you just feel like there's a real, just an inborn lack of respect in general, just for treating people properly. And I think it just kind of bleeds into the vibe of the area and just creates a sense of just like, in a way, there's a bit of a me first mentality, I'm just out for myself, and everybody else, forget about you. And
I'm gonna lie though, this bit that he was just driving through here looked a little bit nicer, like slightly.
It just leads into all this to be, sort of lawless behavior in some parts of town.
Yeah. So is East Oakland pretty much been handed over to the criminal elements? Almost like, as long as you're not shooting each other, anything goes? Because I kind of got that vibe when I was there.
Boy, it does kind of feel like the Wild West down there. I know when you drive down 73rd is like one of the main drags that you can take off the highway that goes all the way down to the Coliseum and the airport, 73rd Street. And there's a big police station there about, a mile or so down. So I know there is a police presence, but I think they can only do so much because their numbers, they don't have the numbers that they need for a city like this. And they're often at odds with the politicians. I can't tell you how many times the police chief has changed. A new police chief has been brought in. I'm sure at least 3 or 4 times since I've lived here, for various reasons. So it feels like there's a lack of a sense of continuity in the leadership structure that can kind of pass that along to the people on the ground who are there to keep people safe. Yeah, it's and unfortunately, it's just gotten worse over the last few years, and I don't know if the politicians can solve it. I don't know. I just don't. I don't think they can solve the issues. So I don't know if that means anybody can. Who's going to take care of all the issues here? I don't know if anybody can.
How often are there shootings like downtown? Is that a regular thing? Are most of the shootings on the east side? Is there even a place you can pinpoint as being the worst?
I can't say right now like how many. I hate to say, but how many murders have happened this year? But usually it's a decent amount. I don't want to say like into triple digits, but it's not like you turn on the news. Yeah, and it's not like you turn on the news every day and you get up and there's 3 people shot and he's anything like that. But I will say, when you do hear a story like that, it often does tend to be mostly in East Oakland. It's just where a lot of the a lot of the crime goes down, and unfortunately, that's where when the shooting happens, it's often in that part of town.
Like right where I was.
Yeah.
96th and International.
Yeah, it's a colorful area to say the least, just because there's a lot going on down there.
There's definitely a lot of energy. It would never be a boring day to spend.
Whole thing around here though, they like their cars. Like that's one thing I ain't like for as poverty stricken it is. There's an abundance of cars.
No wouldn't.
Deep East Oakland.
Deep East Oakland.
Deep East.
It does look pretty cool in the day though. Like, don't look too like there's too much going on in the day. Like there's also not too many people around, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I guess that's a sign in itself. But it's not too crazy. I think it's pretty chill. Oakland's most dangerous neighborhoods. This brother's got his van open with shit inside there, People on that corner chilling. I don't know. I get the image that they're trying to paint and how it's depicted. Little kid there. But I don't know, honestly speaking, it looks like a poverty-stricken area, but it doesn't come off or give off too much of a dangerous area. Obviously, at night time, this could be a different scenario. What do you guys think? Is this accurate, or is this a little bit exaggerated or dramatized? That's a nice property, a nice bit of land there that they had on that corner. This bit looks nice. Look at the trees, look at the aesthetics. Well, nice. It looks nicer.
For the people here in East Oakland and in Oakland in general, it's up to them to self-monitor themselves. The police aren't going to be much help. They're outmanned and under-budgeted. Folks here are going to have to change their community on their own, self-police themselves. If they want a safe place to live, they're going to have to get together and clean the place up as a community so they can walk their own streets in safety and in prosperity. Can they do it? I hope so, but I also doubt this place will ever come close to being really great again. Oakland's most dangerous neighborhoods, a small example of what's wrong with the USA in the 21st century. Hey guys.
Yeah, very, very poverty driven, it seems. Very poverty stricken, but I don't know. A lot of the points he was saying, like the roads, people driving recklessly and weaving in and out of traffic and busting red lights and all of that. I didn't personally see any of it. I saw the bus lane free. I saw people driving cordially. I saw, people outside chilling, people, like, roads quiet. It just seems like a poor area, and obviously in poor areas you're going to get a bit of crime, or more crime than other places. So yeah, interesting, good view, good perspective. But I think I prefer being on the ground, man. I prefer speaking with the residents, speaking with people out here who, tell you how it's really like, how shit really goes down. But this is a good insightful video. Of course, I will leave a like. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe on this video as well. Let me know what other videos to check out, whether it relates to Oakland, California, or the USA in general. I like my hood documentaries, so let me know, man. Let me know. Otherwise, I will keep picking them out of the hat. But yeah, we'll leave it there, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.